In today's video, I'm going to be showing you the power of the SUMIF and the COUNTIF. You're going to see how these powerful functions can help you to do amazing Excel tasks and of course simplify the process. Things that you would normally do that takes you a long process, with the SUMIF and the COUNTIF, you're going to see how these functions are useful. The SUMIF sums value using a certain criteria or condition, while the COUNTIF counts value using criteria or condition. But these criteria are the things that we want to find out. What are the things that can come in, or what are the commands that you can put within this criteria that can make this particular function a wonderful tool in your hand? Join me in the class as I show you this amazing Excel trick. The sum function is a special function that is used for a lot of tasks, especially when it comes to creating summaries within a range of data. Now, the SUMIF function is used to add values in a range based on a given criteria, while the COUNTIF function is used to count values in a specified range based on a given criteria. Now, let us break this function down so that you can understand, because one of the reasons why people don't understand Excel functions is the problem of breaking down the formula or the function. Now, if you look at the function, the elements in the function are 4 in number. The first one is the function name, which is the SUMIF, followed by this word called range. This range particularly is the criteria range. In other words, if you pick a criteria, where can you find the criteria in the main data that you are working on? That is the range. Then the criteria itself has to be specified, and the sum range is optional. So what it means is there are cases when you don't use this, especially when your criteria range is the same thing as your sum range. Then you will not need to specify a separate sum range. So you can just go ahead and do your calculation. So now let's look at an example and see what will be our range, our criteria, and our sum range. Okay. So let's say we want to, now this is a worksheet that shows the results of students from January down to March. So we have January to March, that's what we have here. And then we have the subjects, and then we have the student's name and the score. So let's say the criteria we want to use is to get the total scores on the English language. So give me the total score for all students in English language. So what is the total score? That is the cumulative. That is, if you add all student score together, what will their English score be in total? Now, what you are trying to do is to sum based on the criteria English. Now, the English itself is found under the range, this range, which is the B range. Okay, this is the B column, so that's where the range, that is where your range is. While this word English is your criteria, but the range itself, criteria range, is here, which means this is where you can find all English criteria, all English word appearing And what are you summing? You're actually summing the scores. So this will be your sum range. So if I come here and I type equals sum if, and I open the square bracket, sorry, the brackets, or the brackets, and then I need to provide the range. So what is my range? We have said the English is subject, so our range is here. So what are we going to do? We have to select this particular range. There are faster ways to do this, but just let's just pretend that we are all starting together. Okay, so what is my criteria? My criteria, so I'll put a comma here. A comma is just to indicate a separator for each of the commands within the function. So what is the criteria? The criteria is English. So if we are to provide the criteria, if we are to type the criteria out, then we will put it in inverted comma. So this is it. So this is it. English. That is the criteria. And where are we using our sum range? Our sum range is under this particular column, as you can see. And I said there's a faster way to do that selection, but for now, let's just pretend that we're starting together. So if we close our bracket and hit the enter key, we get all the total of English. That what it means is if you add 87 to the plus the next English, which is 51, plus the next English, which is 41, and all will give you 47. Now, another way you can do this will mean that instead of typing this English here, now instead of typing English, you can reference the English. That is, just click on this. That is reference. So if you already typed the English somewhere, you can reference. So instead of typing this word here, you can reference it, but don't reference it from the main data here. Reference it from the selected text, the ones you have typed, the extra text you typed here, which is your resulting text, not from the source. Okay, so don't reference from here. It's not as if I reference from here, it's not going to work, but for so many reasons, it's not the best practice. So if I make my reference from there, and then that gives me 373 75. Okay, good. Now let's say want to make this faster to say, okay, sum if my range. Now my range is under the column B. I could as well just click on this B. So instead of highlighting, I could just do that. Where's my criteria? Criteria, my criteria is English. I put a comma. What's my sum range? My sum range is D column D. So you see B column B, D column D. Now the advantage of this is it makes the work faster, but the disadvantage is that if you have another type of table or data below here that is different from this, then you are going to have an error in your result. So always watch out if there is no other type of data at the bottom of your original data. Why not? You don't need to waste time. You can just pick it at the top. And the advantage it gives is that it's faster. Another advantage is in a case where you want to copy your formula down, maybe for other criteria, for whatever reason, you will not need to put the absolute reference, which is the dollar B, dollar this, dollar that, because this will take care of the problem of absolute reference also. So now let me pick out some subjects. Let me pick out the subject, the unique subjects, so that I can now do. So let me have a header for this and call it subject. Then I'll just say equals sign unique, unique. So my array is this. So I could do Control Shift down arrow key. So just use the control key, hold it down with the shift key, and use the cursor key, the down cursor key, to make a quick selection instead of dragging. So now I have my unique items. So I can now say equals SUM if, that is sum if, open a bracket. What is my range? My range is this was my criteria. My criteria is the first um, item, I mean the first subject, which is English. We are making a copy of this formula. We're copying this formula downward. So we just need to select the first one. Then the last one, which is D, and then oh, sorry. Um, this last one is D, and then close the bracket and use the enter key. So with this, I could just point my cursor to the edge. When the cross changes to black, I double click. Then I can have the total for each of the subjects, as you can see. So my criteria can change, okay? My criteria can change from subject to month. So I can come to unique and say unique A to A to A37. I hit the enter key. My unique value becomes English. So what would this be? This, instead of this to be B, it will become sorry. So instead of this to be B, I mean this to be B, it will become A, okay? And instead of so this can remain as D column D. So if I hit the enter key and I double click to copy through, then I have the based on the month, okay? Total scores based on the month. And my criteria can also change. So it could be for the students, score by students, that is C column C37. That's for the name. So do we have only two people here? Oh, fantastic. So we have Elsa and Mary. And so our criteria will change from month to, our range will change from month to student, which is C column C. And then, of course, the criteria remains that when you hit the enter key, you have this. So you can see how beautiful and how fast this can be using the sum if to summarize your data and go through your data. So another thing I want you to see about the sum if is the fact that you can also use it to sum based on let's say you want to sum if. Now sum if is not case sensitive, so you can type it with a lowercase or uppercase. Now let's say I want to sum, the range is the score. The range is the score. Okay, my range is the score. And then I put a comma. Then my criteria is all scores greater than 80. All scores that is greater than 80. So that's greater than sign. Because I'm going to use this greater than sign, I have to place it in inverted comma with the figure. So it's going to be all scores greater than 80. So if I hit the enter key, all scores greater than 80 has been added together. Okay, that is for some if. Likewise, the count if also, you can do the same thing with the count if. The count if function, count if, is used to count values based on a criteria. It doesn't add, it just counts. So let's say your criteria is ELSA. You want to know, no, sorry, your range is, so you pick your range. Your range is student, which is C colon C. And then your criteria is ELSA. So this shows that ELSA has occurrence of scores 18 times. That is what it means. So ELSA occurred 18 times. So if my criteria changes from ELSA to Mary, then Mary also occurred 18 times. Okay, so how many times do we have English scores here? We can pick the criteria. So let's say I I have English as a score here. English. Okay, so I can say my criteria is okay, so my range will change first. But let me just type another one, just not to mix this together. So equals count if, so I have my range as the subjects, that's the range, and the criteria is what? English. So if I hit the enter key, so we have occurrence in how many times any of the students took part in English exam. 6 times. Okay, for this period, 6 times. So you can see the way this functions. So you can also use the sum, the count if, just the same way you use the sum if. So you can say you want to count based on subjects, and you are going to pick the subjects out. So my subjects. So if I pick A column A, months is going to be added. So and that's going to be a problem. Okay. So that's why that may not be the right way to do it. I mean, so let's just use unique. And so let me pick from here. So are we working on subject? Sorry, just here, and then Control Shift, then the down arrow, make my selection, and then hit the Enter key. So I have my unique subject. So I can see here that the unique subjects are math, English math, and so I can say equals count if, and then what's my range? My range is the subject, and then my criteria is I'll select English first so that I can copy down. And then if I double click from the edge here, I have six subjects each. Each subjects are taken 6 times. Okay. So that is the count function, and we have also seen the sum if function. So these functions are quite easy. So we have more lessons on sum if and count if. So look out for some of my lessons, other examples that we're going to look at, and then also the count if. So I will invite you to subscribe to this channel so that you can catch up with more in on count ifs, some ifs. So we're going to do more examples and expand this knowledge further. But this is a starting point. So go through this over and over until you master it. See you in another session, and bye for now.